right. So hopefully we
We're
will be
on.
good to be. We're on
Oh,
Facebook too.
let me see.
I mean,
We're on.
because this is bothering me, but it won't be. It didn't show on the other page, but we'll see. Yeah, we're up on YouTube land. um,
We're on YouTube.
yeah, I see it's there. I'm going to our FB. Yeah, we're on it. Thing. It's just not showing on my other page. That'll be okay though. We can survive that today. Uh, let me.
All right, let me see. All right, hold on, people. Let me see if it says we live.
We are live. If you're joining us, thank you for joining
We're
us.
not. I don't see us on. Do you see us on YouTube?
I I haven't gone to the YouTube. Let me check it. Um,
Let me see. Let me click back
it
in.
did say we were on
No,
YouTube.
we're not. Let me see. Yep.
Okay, so
Nope.
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 What?
I don't see us. I don't see us live on YouTube. If you're on YouTube and you see us,
I
let us
see us.
know.
I see it. I see us. He's talking. It's on. It's
Well,
under.
never mind.
It's under
Why is
live
mine
chat.
not showing?
It's under live.
Why
Um,
is mine? I did press live. Okay, but anyway, as long as we're there, that's the most important thing.
that is what's important. That's the
I
key
see it. I see it. I see
thing.
it. All right, what's up,
Um,
everybody? Good
good
morning.
morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Sorry,
As
we
you,
had a few technical difficulties.
yeah.
Difficulties, but we do have a great show planned. And just sending this link to somebody. And we have a great show planned today. And so come on in, come on in, come on in. You know how the
Hang
YouTubers
out with
do.
us.
Come on
Yeah.
in, everybody, come on in. I love the YouTube nation. I love the people on YouTube. Um, to me, YouTube has allowed people who have like stage fright and things like that, not good, didn't think they were good with public speaking, etc. It
Hmm.
has allowed them to come out of their shell and
Okay.
actually, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
and actually do some things. So but anyway, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Black Filmmakers Lounge. Sorry we had some technical difficulties this morning, but Michael is um, finishing up the thing. We're good. We on all the pages.
Hmm.
Y'all know he the techie. He's the techie. If y'all have any questions about anything, especially tech,
Yeah. The Facebook is a little slow. That's the one I
I mean,
think.
this you mean.
YouTube is moving a lot faster.
Wait,
It's the other
this one.
direction. Yeah, there you go. Cheers, TK, right there. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know I
So,
have a mirror. I don't like the mirror thing where it mirrors you. I like when
but
it's
it's
just.
because it's. But think about this. It has to mirror us because when they see our stuff, like right now, when I look at you, I
Mhm.
see your clapboard behind you with your name. Correct. So if it didn't flip it a little bit, because how that sees us, it's flipped around. So
And I
stuff
see.
happens. Darrell, what's going on, man? How you doing? He's
Hey,
hanging out on Facebook
Darrell.
land.
Oh, he in Facebook land.
So
I was like, I
yeah,
didn't
he's
see.
over in Facebook land. That's
Hey,
why I gotta have the
Darrell.
two monitors. I gotta have the YouTube and then
I
the Facebook.
know. I
Um,
know. Darrell, we got a good movie for you to watch. Well, we're gonna discuss it, and we're gonna see what Michael think about it because I was over the moon about it. So, yeah, it's at 10:09. Let's get it going. Let's
good
get it
morning, good
started.
morning, good morning, Felicia. How you doing? We
Hey,
had a little
Felicia.
conversation about
Is it
her working
Valicia?
on.
Valicia or
No,
Valicia?
Valicia James.
Valicia.
Yeah. We
Because
had
sometimes
a
we got,
conversation
we have a little extra.
the other night about her working on some shorts, getting in gear and getting herself together for it. Good morning, Tone.
Hey, Tony.
Tone went from the Facebook page to the YouTube channel. So we appreciate that, Tone.
Thank you. I
Um,
can see your comments when you're on YouTube. I can't see them on
yeah,
Facebook because I can
yeah.
only
See,
have.
I have like three screens going
Well, you
at
know
the
what?
same time.
Right. I'm going to put this on Facebook. I'll put this
Right.
on Facebook, and I can see the YouTube comments up here. right?
Oh, yeah. I think yeah.
Okay,
You can see both of them. You should be able to see both. Excuse me, guys.
let's
Let's
get it
make
started.
this. Let's get it started. Right now. Okay. Don't get me on that one. Um, let's do this though. We're gonna do it like we always do it, the way we do it, and away we go. Hey, welcome to the Black Filmmakers Lounge. This is a place where independent filmmakers, whether novice or professionals, come together to gain insight and perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black independent film community. We are creating our own space so that we can succeed together. I'm your host, Michael Melvin, my co-host, Tamira TK Henderson, and we appreciate you guys for joining us today, hanging out. Let us know that you're here, whether you're on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page for the Black Filmmakers Lounge, that you're following us there. So this is the only place that those are the only two places we can see your comments if you come and hang. So we just want to let you all know we're here with you, we're hanging with you, and it's going to be a beautiful, wonderful day. Let me, turn my light on. Ooh, there we go. I knew I forgot something. There's
I know.
always
I was like,
something.
Michael looking a little dark today. All right.
um, but yeah,
Oh, can
so
I go to the live?
we do what it is when we do. How you guys doing? And as we open up every show, as always, we open up with what you're watching. And so this week we have TK and I were communicating about watching different things. So TK, what did you watch this week?
Michael, real
Mm-hmm.
quick.
Uh-huh.
But when I go to Facebook and it says that we're live on Facebook, it
Mm-hmm.
won't let me it won't let me see
You got to go to the Black Filmmakers Lounge page.
page. I did. I
And
was
I
on the
pinned it
page
to the
and I
top.
saw
It's
it
at
where
the
it
very
says
top.
live. I saw where it says live, but it won't let me. I went to the actual page and I saw where it says live. But anyway, that's not important. I just wanted to see
Uh-huh.
you guys' comments. But it says we're live, but then when I click on live, it takes me to
Us live, where you can't really see the comments. You have to hit
no,
on.
it don't take us. It don't take me to the
Oh,
live.
really?
Yeah,
I
it just
don't
it
know.
takes me to the event. See, it takes me to this and it takes me to the event.
Yeah, Facebook keeps
Okay, but
messing with
anyway,
stuff. It used to be so simple. Now they overcomplicating it just so they can get paid.
so
Um,
since we were talking about Christmas movies last week, I
mhm,
watched a movie. I really don't want to say the name of it because what they did was take the movie, they took the script,
mhm,
and they put black characters in it, but did not adjust it for the black characters.
mm.
And so the main character's name was Brooke. And what was Day Day's mom? What's the girl name that plays Day Day's stepmama? Um,
Kimberly. Her
Kimberly,
real
what's her
name
name?
Kimberly. Kim.
Whitney.
Kim Whitney. Yeah.
Kim Whitney.
Kim Wheatley.
They had Kim Whitney. Her name was Erin. Her friend
Kim
Erin.
Wheatley. Kim Wheatley. Yeah.
Wheatley. Her name. Her friend's name was Erin. And then
Sorry,
the
I had
two.
to.
Her dad's name. Hold on. Her parents' name were Ava and Wade. And he was
Hmm.
talking about how he took this picture golfing in Scotland on his 50th birthday. This picture on his wall. And then the love interest and the mom kept saying, telling each other, "You're so delightful. You're so delightful. No, you're delightful." And the whole time, the black character who
What
we know,
what
um,
network was this on?
it was no, it was just a random movie on Amazon Prime, because I was just
Oh,
scrolling through and I said, well, since we were talking about the Christmas movies and I hadn't watched any, I'm gonna watch this. And let me tell you guys, I was just like, what the heck? Because this particular girl, main character, we know her. Like,
uh,
I mean, she hood, but she's between. She's like, she's regular black person. And
okay.
I'm saying that because regular black people, come on, let's be real. We turn it on and off and this and that, right?
Uh-huh.
And so she was trying to talk prop her the whole time, the whole movie,
Is it proper?
instead of just talking. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like, I talk slang sometimes. I can talk slang and I can talk, you know,
Hmm.
I was gonna call you, lady. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're here. Acting like Tanya. And Tamara, thank you, Tamara.
Now you keep
Um,
talking. I'm just posting our supporters. I'm gonna make sure
yeah.
we.
And so, but you come on, most of us we know how we do. So you can really tell when somebody is trying to talk a certain way through the whole movie. So she
Mhm.
was trying to enunciate her words and talk the whole time. Like it was crazy. It was in 2016 too. Y'all, I'm not even telling y'all the movie name because y'all know we don't get on here to bash movies. That's not what we do. But baby, let me tell y'all, I was just like, and they used the green screen in a
Well,
driving
hey, it
scene.
got. Watch this. It got on Amazon. You got you
Everything.
watching it.
That's
You watched
I'm
it.
not. That's why I said I'm not here to down it. But baby, that green screen was. So anyway, so then I
Hmm.
watched a movie called Rocks. Rocks
Right.
is a 2019. It was done in Britain,
London. Hmm.
London. Yeah, it was done in London, and it won several awards, and some of the actors even won awards. And let me tell you, that particular movie, and we're going to discuss it because Michael watched it too, because we want to talk about character development. I want to talk about that movie a little bit as well. So I'm going to let Michael talk about what he watched, and then we'll talk about Rocks.
Oh, you didn't watch nothing else?
No.
She didn't do her assignment.
What assignment?
Fantasy football.
Oh, I didn't get to it, so I'm going to watch it tomorrow
Mm.
night. I didn't get to watch it.
Mm.
Is that Darrell?
Mm.
Is Gina the Jones the same way? Oh my God, that's too funny.
Yeah.
Too
So,
funny.
what's up,
Okay.
Thomas? How you doing?
Hey,
We're
Thomas.
glad that you guys are all joining us and hanging out with us. Um, as always, we appreciate y'all and your support. So, for me, I watched fantasy football. I thought it was a fun film. It was funny. It was cute, funny. Um, it was a STEM or STEAM movie because we don't just say STEM anymore. I know STEM was the buzzword back in the day, but we have the A for arts in there now because they realize
Oh,
how important the arts are to people's education and our youth. Because if you think about it, kids who take music are really good at math. So because you have to be able to count the notes and so forth. Um, and so there's so much more in arts make us well-rounded and make us critical thinkers.
right,
It allows us to comprehend and have discussions on how something makes us feel or
right.
gives perspective. So there's so much to that.
Okay, that's good
But
to know.
the thing is, in it, they did the first robotics competition was in there. I used to be a sponsor for First Robotics when I did high school, and they had what else? The NFL was involved. Madden, EA Sports is involved. See how all that starts into this movie, and it was a really good movie. I did not know that Richard T. Jones was one of the writers of the script until I saw the movie. And if you know who Richard T. Jones is, he played, I think it was Mike, in Why Did I Get Married? The one who was married to Jill Scott, and everybody hated him in there. But Richard T. Jones is a good actor. If you remember him from The Wood.
Judge
Um,
and Amy. That's what
yeah.
I remember him from.
And
Yeah.
so I did not know he was writing like that, but I was like, wow, this is good. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's a good family film. Um, it had a lot of good people in it. So you'll see all the wonderful faces and Kelly Williams in it, Omari Hardwick. Um, I always mess up her name. My girl from Blackish. Um, because TK is so funny.
Oh, Marseille Martin.
Marseille, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marseille Martin.
It's so then she was in it. She was like the daughter of Amari Hardwick and Kelly. Is it Kelly Rollins? Rollins.
The singer?
Yeah. From Destiny's
Oh,
Child.
she's in it.
She
Kelly
plays the
Rowland.
mom. Kelly Rowland plays the
Oh yeah,
mom.
Kelly Rowland. Okay.
Um, I thought Kelly was married. I thought she had a different last name, but her name, her AKA name. There you go. Her also known as name. So, because it's
Gotcha.
funny when you get married, you got to think about it. as actors get married, not everybody's going to do a Jada Pinkett Smith, or they because you just not put Smith on the end, but she really would be a Smith. People do that, but hey, that's neither here or there. But it was really good. It was a good film to watch. So I saw that, and then I watched Rocks.
That's the only thing. Wait. You didn't have anything between?
I can't, if I did, I don't recall. I don't
Okay.
think I did. I may have. There are things I
Okay.
did, cartoons I've been watching, anime, things like that. But it's also been a long week for me.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
pulled a long work day Thursday, and then again, so it's been a long week. Because we also got some good news, about the film festival and
Yeah.
the submission for pay. So we did a thesis film for my grad school for me to graduate during COVID, called The Pandemic Proposal. And what we did is we took a script that the school offered us, and TK and I made some changes, minor changes, but changes. As TK was talking about, we changed the dialogue to fit the people because they were black, but we still left the basis of the story intact. But we wanted to make sure that it was authentic to those characters and their age group and so forth. So,
And we took a script from the school. Go ahead and tell them why as well. Why we
why
took the
we
script
took
from
the
the school.
script from school? Well, every script we kept doing, our original pieces, they kept changing or not liking the way we tell our story. And I kind of had to, towards the end, say, hey, listen here, we'll take one of your scripts, but I just want you to make you aware that just because you think that's how somebody will act, when I know, because I'm writing off of somebody else, because they told me a character we had wouldn't do something. And I'm like, well, that's based on my mom's. She would, because he did do
Y'all,
it.
it was a mess. It was thank you, Thomas, because it's not what we're watching, it's what you're watching. So what are you guys
Yeah, what
watching?
you watching?
Thank
You
you,
watch
Thomas. It's
R&R,
a
a
Hindi
Hindi number
film.
one film. Let me pop that up.
Was
There we
it
go.
good, Thomas? Did you like it? Should I go? Is it something you recommend, or I'm okay?
It says the number one action film overseas. Isn't that on Netflix or something? So he'll respond and
Well, if
say.
it's number one from overseas, I'm going to check that out.
So, okay, so I sent you a thing this morning, a trailer for a film that I think was either, I got to think it was either in Spanish or Italian. I couldn't,
Okay,
because the words are always very similar because of the type, Latin languages.
gotcha,
It's
guys.
on Amazon. Okay, it's amazing. It's on Netflix. It's on
Okay,
Netflix.
it's
There we go.
amazing. On there. Oh, cool. I'm gonna check that out this week. I think.
The trailer I sent you was a Netflix film.
Okay, the
That
Netflix.
again, you know what it is, and people. I want to say this before we kind of move forward. Y'all got to pay attention to Netflix and their foreign films, because they get a lot of stories from elsewhere. Because we keep thinking Netflix America. It's like same thing with Apple. If you're in another country and you have an Apple subscription, you're accessible to things that people in America aren't. But Netflix is making anything accessible if you start looking it up. So what I would suggest, if you have a Netflix subscription, create another. If you don't want to change your algorithm for Netflix because they suggest certain movies to you, create another viewer icon, screen thing, whatever.
Oh yeah. I
Create
got you.
create another one and make that your one for foreign films, for you to look at different content from other places, because then you'll see the difference in their writing and their storytelling. So I want you to challenge y'all to do that. So Darrell said he was looking at Atlanta, Abbott Elementary, Reasonable Doubt, and Merry Christmas, Baby.
Merry Christmas, baby.
That's the one. That's a sequel, right? Isn't that the sequel to like Merry Christmas Wedding? And they have a baby, and there was one before that, and they were getting together. I think, is that the one? Am I correct to say that? And then he went and saw Wakanda Forever. That's what I'm talking
Did you like it?
about.
Did you like it, Darrell?
Look, we gonna start spoiling Wakanda Forever now. Y'all all should have seen it. Actually, they hit over 700 million total from the box office. But I was having a conversation
In a
with my
month.
wife.
In 1 month. Less than a month. Come
But
on.
here's the thing. I was having a conversation with Tiffany, and I said the
Mhm.
problem I have with some of these black independent filmmakers who are all and some of these guys who are out there saying boycott this, boycott that, is they're not they're not visionaries. They don't see a bigger picture. What they felt, they went off what they felt versus what they know. And that can be so destructive. We as a community, I feel like sometimes we jump on board to things we haven't even experienced or seen or have any knowledge about, right? And we go, oh yeah, I'm a boycott because there's not enough black men in it. Okay, that sounds stupid, but okay. You haven't seen a movie, or they're not recasting T'Challa. That sounds stupid. You haven't seen a movie. Don't do that. Because here's the other thing with the catch-22 we don't ever think about. When we stop supporting our stuff that's geared towards us and building from there, we run into the simplest problem. It makes it harder for them to go, okay, because we already get it hard to get funding for black films. And you got to remember that Black Panther, the first one, had one of the biggest budgets from Marvel at 200 million. They made 1.38 billion back. Okay, Ryan Coogler was the writer, director. He's a black man. Think about that. Okay, because that's job, that's work, that's trust of, hey, we need to get somebody else in here to direct. We need to get somebody else. They start supporting it. It opens up jobs and opportunities. They employed a lot of black people, both on screen and off screen. So we have to think about that. That boycott mentality, without a plan, without a vision, it means nothing, but it just destroys you. Okay? Because here's the thing. When they did a boycott, they were sacrificing. So we keep going off the 60s during King and during those boycotts. First of all, they stopped riding the bus, but they started getting up to go to work earlier to get to work on time. So they had to make some sacrifices. They started driving each other. They started using their own taxi cab companies. So we have to think, what's the solution we're going to come up with and what we're going to do to help. Now, like I tell people, at this day and age, if you don't see somebody doing something, I'm not going to boycott it. I'm going to go watch it because I want to know what I'm talking about. First of all, if I haven't watched it and then it's proven that I'm wrong, guess what? Would you trust somebody you can prove that's wrong? That's why I tell people, look at what you're putting out there, what you're saying, because the moment I can discredit it, or any person can discredit it, why would they trust you from there on? If you're not willing to go back and make corrections and check yourself either, and account for that. But the reason I'm saying what I'm saying is, these are opportunities for us to make the movies. If we feel like there's not enough black men in the movie, then guess what? As a black man, I get to make more movies as black men. Boom. Problem solved.
Yep. Absolutely.
Every invention comes out of the lack of.
Several of my movies. Several of the movies I wrote were because of that. I was like, we don't show our black men in enough great character. This is about 15, 20 years ago. I mean, today, guys, today. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go back to that, Michael, because I want you to go back to, and I'll tell y'all this anniversary date for me. And that's why I wrote certain films, because I was like, I didn't feel that they showed enough positive black male image on the screen. So I wrote one. I felt they didn't have enough movie for tweens. I wrote one, or two, or maybe three. I don't know how many are. But go back to Pandemic Proposal. So when we're talking about the script for Pandemic Proposal, it was hard. We were having the hardest time getting a short film past these people, and we know what we're doing.
We knew the problem. Because we've done other stuff.
we finally said, and Michael had talked to his dad. His dad was like, you know what, just do it. So we took a script from the school. We rewrote it to make it fit the characters that we wanted. And go ahead and continue, Michael.
I'm a fighter. So if I don't like something somebody's doing, I'm gonna fight back. So because and the TK know that because that's why I had to talk to my dad because he's like, hey, just get out of grad school because
Just get out.
don't
We just have
prolong
to
get out.
we
He
had to
said,
please these people so we can graduate.
yeah, because
So we
TK
can
when they
graduate.
allowed it, they would allow TK to help me as a scriptwriter to hire her as a scriptwriter. So I had to do a budget because I went for producing. So my degree, my concentration is as a film producer. So I could hire my scriptwriter, I could hire a director, I could bring in people to do stuff. And that's because that's what I was learning or focusing on. Because the thing is, I had already made stuff prior to this. I already been making movies before this.
I have been writing for years.
Yeah. So again, people think differently than you. And I can accept that. The thing I have to challenge them on is, can you accept that? Because I'm a black man or we're black people and we have a black experience that's different from white people. And it's okay that we do because we do. It's so
And
funny.
they
I had
do
a
not
discussion
understand
last
it.
night about something. And I said, I will not shun my voice for anybody. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not apologizing because you feel a certain way because you're comfortable with you. But you're not comfortable with me. If you're truly about fairness and equality in a society, then you need to be comfortable with everybody, even in their differences. Because we function differently, we move differently, we think differently, and there still are similarities. But we overlook the similarities for the differences. What they should learn to do is appreciate the differences. Because that's what makes us human
Absolutely.
beings.
That's it right there. Appreciate the differences. Oh, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have never. I did a commercial one time, and they were like, "You come out the shower with your hair on, with your towel on your head," and I told them, I said, "Black people don't do that. We don't wash our hair every day." They were like, "Oh, you don't?" I said, "So no, as a black woman, I wouldn't come out the shower with a towel on my head every day." You know what I mean? That's that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go to the beauty shop or you wash it in the sink and you get on the dry, like it's a whole different process. And they were like, oh, and they let me get away with it. And it was a pharmaceutical company. And they were like, oh, okay. So I got out the shower and I kind of, did this with the towel and stuff. And I had my hair done, my hair was done. So they were like, oh, we get it. Like, I'm like, yeah, we don't get out the shower looking like that. Now
And it's
I know
fascinating
wisdom,
because
and I probably, and now I look back on it, I probably was overstepping my boundaries, but
mm-hmm.
I did have to go ahead. That is something that, in wisdom, you're learning things you said in the past to people and all that stuff. You're like, oh, Lord, did I tell them people that a long time ago? Oh, I'm so sorry. But now, wisdom.
Yeah.
But it was the right move because I was like, that's not how black women, that's not how we get out the shower.
But they should want to understand that. Like as a teacher, I teach culture. Yeah. I don't just teach, I teach culture. I teach that I think that everybody should learn about everyone so they can respond and connect to them. I talk about that. And that comes with character development in your stories. That comes with showing those things. We're going to move to that too, right? And
but you were still talking about Pandemic Proposal. Were you going to make an announcement, or were you going to?
Oh, Pandemic Proposal is in the Denton Black Film Festival. It will be screening January 27th through the 7, 8, 9 that weekend, and then they have a virtual screenings that they will have at the end of January. Well, going into February.
Right? And you guys know the story behind it. I
told Michael the story behind it. Yeah, I got to get my plane tickets and everything. Thank you very much.
That was the most difficult.
Yeah, set. So we filmed that online. Like we communicated with the actors to see what they had and didn't have. I put together a care package of lights, microphones, wireless mics, and I met up with them with mask on, everything. and said, "Hey, here's your kit. We'll explain to you how to use it." I sent them money for them to download Filmic Pro because we had them film on their cell phones. They had the same cell phone. We realized the issues with certain things as well, but we also learned the benefits as well. And we spent, I
Yes.
don't know, like 12 plus hours filming Saturday, and then we got on Sunday or whatnot. And then one of the professors was on with us the whole time, and she was trying to get us to go faster. And I was like, "This stuff takes time. It's not an overnight thing. You should know that."
Oh my
Um,
God.
and even the kinks that was that was occurring.
Yes.
You have to work those things out. It's not perfection. But we were
It was an
learning at
amazing
that time.
experience. It
Yeah.
was an amazing experience, guys. Michael was like, okay, get your camera and press this button on the back and move it to 2.4 degrees and this, and that. And they had to set up the different camera angles. And like, we were like, okay, he was like, get some duct tape, put a towel under there. So we were doing set design from
Oh,
the,
because we ran into so the actor had light bleeding over, and we needed to cover that light.
oh my
And
God. For him to
so we
figure
would
that
tell
out,
him
oh
what to
my
do.
guys, it
And
was brilliant. It was
yeah,
freaking brilliant. And to be honest with you, if we would have shot that on location, I think it would have took the same amount of time or more
I don't think
for
so.
us.
I think it would have been quicker because when I go to but we go to a location, we look at it first and we assess it,
Yeah.
and then we make those changes. But we weren't able to be in the room with them. You know what I
It
mean? Which is good because so during the one thing is we were filming during COVID. So it was a choice to get everybody COVID tested and to film in person. Um, what I realized is I didn't want to do that because I didn't want anybody to catch COVID, which I am so glad that we didn't do that
yep.
because one of our actors ended up having COVID.
Yep.
Um, and so that's where, I'm cautious. I'm very cautious as a person. Um, Sometimes I know you got to throw caution to the wind and just do, but I don't want to put people's lives in danger because I've seen that happen on film sets, and I've seen people sign waivers and stuff. I refuse to ever sign a waiver for anything. If you're going to have it on your film set, you're going to pay me for if I get hurt. You
Yep.
need to have the insurance and to take the precautions, but you're
Oh,
not going to negate that if an accident occurs on your set, you got to cover my insurance. You got to cover me. Don't try to work off my work insurance. It ain't gonna happen. So that's how I look at, understanding what what the problems that can occur, and that's what a producer has to do because there's money being spent. So we have to think about contingency plans. So, but we had to come up with stuff right on the spot. You got to be quick thinking because you got to recognize stuff. This is why we're always about learning this, the education aspect of it. But no, it is awesome to get the short film. It's short, it's about 2.5 minutes. Is it 2.5 minutes long? I guess
Two and
it's
a half
around
minutes.
that.
Oh, I can't even remember.
It's a little over 2.5 minutes or something like that. It's not long, but it the way it plays out. But you know what's crazy because we changed a lot of the lines and put some comedic stuff that we can understand in there. I was like, man, we could have played off of this some more, because it's like you could have did a whole web series off dating during COVID online. Because I had asked my nephew, I said, how do you guys meet new people? And he's like, oh, we're on the internet. We talk to you. We FaceTime first. We do that. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Because I was like, how is dating during COVID working for you guys? And he was like, yeah, we got sites, we got groups, we got. I was like, oh, you young people are,
Young people.
yeah.
I want to read off the awards before we discuss rocks. I want to read off the awards.
Mhm.
The British AFTRA Film Award, which is BAFTA. So I'm pretty sure that's British AFTRA, right? Hold on, let me see. Hold on,
BAFTA
hold on.
after.
Let me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure before I
It's
tell
probably an
y'all
acronym for something.
AFTA. What is it? Okay, I want to give y'all the best British Academy of Film and Television. So
Okay.
they won. This movie we're about to discuss won the British acting. What was that? What did I tell you it was? The
Film and
British. I gotta
television.
remember the British Academy A film and television.
Mm-hmm.
A film and television. Okay, so they won best casting. They
Mm-hmm.
were nominated for
Pretty good.
best film.
Mm-hmm.
They were nominated for best screenplay. Nominated for best supporting actress. Okay, hold on. I wanted the winners. Hold on. I wanted the winning. Hold on.
But they don't
So
see
they
the
won.
people, so it's kind of hard. So let's
They were nominated. Put it like this: they were nominated for everything. And so for the British Independent Film Award, they won for the best British independent film. They won for the best supporting actress. They won for the best supporting actor. Oh, the little boy won. They won for best casting. They won best screenplay. Oh no, they were nominated. So they won 5 awards
so let
in the
me
British Independent Film Awards, and
boom.
they won best casting. So then they won other Dublin. They had a lot of other awards too. Guys,
So
this particular film. So Michael, you want to speak? I'll speak first because I'm one.
no, yeah, you're the one that brought it
So
up to me.
this particular film, y'all, I don't even know how I came across it, but I came across it on Netflix, and the synopsis was basically a young girl strives to take care of her and her brother once her mom leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I would definitely recommend watching this movie as a yeah, oh yeah, Darrell. And I would definitely watch as independent filmmakers, I would definitely recommend watching this movie. The casting was phenomenal. There was all the actors, all the young actors did an amazing job. And there
Wait,
was one
William
particular
Baldwin had
actress that
something to
stood
do with
out.
it?
Huh?
William Baldwin, right here. One of the Baldwin brothers.
I wonder if he came through after or did he come through before?
I don't know. I don't remember
Some
seeing him in the
people,
movie.
some actors, because they want to make the name, they want to highlight the
Mm-hmm.
film and make it bigger, they'll attach their name after the movie's done. So we have to check on that. But guys, the the story and the editing, and it made me understand something about because now I'm supposed to watch films to kind of study them, because before I just watch films entertainment. Now, like, God is telling me to watch films to pick up on stuff. And so with rocks, I picked up on, because I was asking my editor when we edit my film, is there a way to make softer cuts, in a drama? And when I was
Mm-hmm.
watching this, I understood. It helped me understand that doing long takes and then simple cuts instead of just cutting over the shoulder, wide, just cutting back and forth.
Cutting
That's what
quickly.
it drew me into this movie. It drew me into this movie with those shorter cuts. Um, it drew me in emotionally. So this movie, I was like, oh my God. And then the actors, those young actors, and the one who won the best supporting actress, she was absolutely, like, I pulled her up and took a picture. All of them were good, but her best friend, the one right there with the do-rag on,
Well, it's not
her,
the yeah, her Hajid,
yes,
yeah.
she was simply amazing. That girl was so amazing to me. She was so amazing. I literally looked her up and screenshotted her. That's what I do when there's a standout actress. But all of those kids really did good. And we'll talk about, and as we
And
go,
it
what
was
we gonna have?
cultural. Here's the thing. You saw a lot of diverse cultures of young
Yes,
people
yes,
engaged and connecting. It's modern because you saw the dance steps, the Afro um, music, and everything that they're using. And you saw some of the American culture that they get from us within it. The use of Instagram and the stuff they watch, the dances they were doing, the Molly Rock, they were doing. So
yes.
you
That's
could
so good,
see
Michael.
that,
Oh my God, that's so
right?
good. I didn't think about that.
So and that's the thing, because now you make this connection um between us and the culture in England. Because the problem that bothers me with our community is, oh, what's the name's doing a movie and they made the main actress a British actor. Well, they're just good. They're just that good of acting. That doesn't mean no one wants American actors, because there's American actors in the movie. But we are the only people that have that problem with, because I've seen white movies with a lot of British actors and you didn't know they're from England. or they're from London, England, whatever. But the thing is, if you're good at it, you're good at it. And this was a good story. It did pull at your strings. I, there's a scene, it's all that's happening, but there's similar movies in America just like this that we don't hear about, that you don't talk about. So if you haven't seen this movie, go ahead and watch it, right?
I would love to
Um,
have a discussion on this movie, guys. I
we should be
people are
having
like, I would
discussions
love
like
to
we
have a full
discuss
discussion.
books. Why is the cinematography this way? Why did the director do this? Because that's what's going to help us when we're filming our stuff. Why is it edited? Why is the color corrected in this way? What is it? What's the emotion that they're going for? If you just look over here at the poster and look at the color scheme in the poster, look at the title of Rocks, and then look at how the actors are all dressed. That means something.
Yes, that's
You
good,
know,
Michael.
so that's the cinematographer coming out of me right there.
That's good, y'all. Yes, and then the
um,
chemistry with the actors. Michael, was I lying to you? Was I lying or not when I said that girl and that little boy had to be real brother and sister? Was I lying?
I didn't feel like they're real brother and sister like real life, but he was like an annoying sibling.
He
I
was
was
in the
like, that
same,
boy don't want to listen for nothing. I
but
mean,
he
he's cool. He's cool. It's just as an adult, when I watch kids hard headed, because when I watched Beast, I was so mad at the daughters. I was like, can y'all just listen? We're going to tell you something. Can you listen? We won't be in this if you. But see, that's what drives the story because I always, it's so funny as a teacher, when people don't listen, that's when the conflict occurs.
But you know what? But you
Mhm.
got to remember. I mean, when you think about the realistically, his mother's gone. He misses his mother. He loves his mother, and she's gone. But it was just like when he was like, she was like, "What's the frog's name?" It's Tiny, cause he's a tiny
Tiny
little
little
frog.
frog.
And then he just come out with this, he come out with the sword, and he's hitting the wall. He was.
He's a
I said
kid.
this
He
to
was a
Adam.
kid. He was a
I
kid.
started thinking. I literally started thinking, guys. I said, I wonder if this is scripted because this little boy is acting like he is too
But
good.
at the end of the movie, they thank the actors because they say the actors help in developing the story and the script,
I
making
didn't
it
see that.
real.
I
If
took it
you
out.
if you when you watch the end, you'll see their thing to the actors
Wow,
and what they
guys,
thank them for. So
I
because
recommend this
again,
movie.
they
Oh, go
bring
ahead.
your actors bring it to life because sometimes your dialogue isn't the dialogue that people can normally say. Now, for me, um, I am read what's on the script type of person, and then we ad lib later. But the reason I want you to read what's on the script is the reason it's written that way, or there's a reason I have that character say what they're saying. I don't want you to be you. I think people go, well, that's not how I sound. Well, you're right. That's good because if you're really acting, it shouldn't be how you sound. It should be how the character
How the character
sounds.
sounds. Yep.
So if the character's educated and you're playing an educated character, you're not going to say those words you would like to say, but you're going to say these other words. It's like Denzel's not a bad actor. Denzel's a great actor, but I guarantee comes up in a lot of movies, because that's his
But you
word. But so we have to be careful because I'm a what's in the script person because that character probably wouldn't say I guarantee. You know what I mean? And like I said, Denzel's not a bad actor. It's just some people act so long that we're comfortable letting them get away with stuff. But to me, you're bringing a character alive. I'm not worried about you. I want you to play this character, this part, and you want you to bring this alive.
see, and that goes to the movie I told y'all I watched where Vivica was talking like this the whole time. And what do you mean? And it was just like this. And
But if
I was
she
like, I'm
But
gonna
she
stick with
ain't
it, but
talk like that though. She could talk like that, but did it? But was it? Here's the
for me,
question I have to ask: did you put Vivica in it because it's Vivica, or did you put Vivica in it because she can play that character? And that's where we start running to the problems.
right, and that's why you got to be careful, especially in like Michael said, you want to turn into the character on the script, and and for me, it's like when I get on set and I'm directing these people, please say what's on the thing, but then I may ask, how would you say it? If I see them struggling with it, I may say, how would you say it? And then if it pretty much matches, we'll go from there. But with that, like it was really, I think if Vivica would have just talked her normal but still said the lines, it would have came across way she would have said the same exact lines, but
Mm-hmm.
she did not force herself to talk like this, and just
So
was
it
more.
didn't. So the truth be told, it didn't fit her as a person. You know what I mean? It didn't
Well,
fit
I
Vivica
don't know if
Fox.
they told, but see,
And
I don't know if she was doing that or they
mhm.
told her to make sure she talks enunciates to the T. I don't
Right,
know.
and,
See, I
and
don't
and
know.
and because
I don't know what
that's
the
the
director told her.
character. So they wanted her to do the character. It's just that her training may not be, because let's just really take a look at the characters certain people play. And this is why I even try to tell my actors, don't get typecasted. Be of like I Will Smith. I think Will Smith is a great actor. Okay, I think Will Smith's number one problem is he refuses to actually play a real villain. But if he, and I've said this before, I don't know, y'all ever seen the movie Takers with T.I.? I wasn't totally feeling T.I.'s character. He was good, but it just felt like T.I. I said, what if Will Smith played that character that had to betray his friends because he felt betrayed by them, and he was gritty and he was setting it all up. I was like, that'd have been a perfect part for him with the same ensemble as everybody else. And so that's what I start looking at, because the character pays it off. The antagonist, the protagonist, it's a payoff for that. At the end, it has to work. This is why you can watch a Gladiator and say, Gladiator wasn't really was Gerard Butler's thing. It wasn't his story. It was the villain's story, because what's the name? Phoenix was like, Jaquan Phoenix was like, I hate him. Like I couldn't kill him, get him, and you felt that, and he brought that in his character, that he betrayed his family. So when you watch Rocks, right, you feel the character because you're feeling the experience, and because you don't know these people for real, like you haven't seen them act in something else. Some of you may have,
Yes,
but because we
yes.
haven't, they can bring those characters alive, because we're not looking at, oh, that's so and so
Yep.
playing that character.
Yep. That is a good, you know what? I love that. And that is a great, so that's a great point, that these characters, we don't know who they are. So when we see them we see them. We've never seen them in movies before. We've never seen them in person before. We don't know these people at all. So when they come through with these characters, they are these characters, and they play, y'all guys. It's like he said, it was so real. Like these are the characters. Like the girl trying to help. All the girls trying to help the girl with, her
Mm-hmm.
family. Like
Yeah.
everybody's, and the cultural. God, I really love this movie. Look, I feel like Siskel and Ebert right now. But I'm serious. This movie it really moved me because it felt so real. And that is the feel of this movie is exactly how I want my film, Jade, to feel. And it really gave me that feeling that I want people to feel when they watch the movie I'm doing. And so it made me so happy. I was like, Michael, I see this movie. Oh my God. And I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again just to look at it a little more with the because when you think about the lighting and the overcast, it wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
remember, to be honest with you, I think the only day that was really sunny, that's why I'm gonna go back and watch it, was at the end, at the very last scene. The
Okay.
scene on the train, and then the scene when they got to where they were going. I think those are the only two scenes where you actually seen the sunshine. I think it was an overcast in the movie throughout the whole
I
time.
am
I have to go back and look.
I am going to give you another movie that I think people should watch.
Okay.
And it's just almost along the lines of this movie. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm gonna pop it up real quick on the screen. Boom.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
did. I seen
Mr.
that.
and Pete.
Yep.
is that movie. That's what that made me think about when I was watching. It's like, dang, that reminds me of Mr. and Pete. Because
Oh, I need to
yeah,
watch that. I need to watch
um,
that and study that. Thank you. I need to
so
watch it
the
again.
inevitable defeat of Mr. and Pete.
Mr.
You
MP.
you
Oh
have to
my
you
God, I almost
gotta
started
watch it,
crying.
right? It's just
Are you spelling
again,
inevitable?
and this is with people you know, but they brought the kids brought the characters alive. And the stories about young people having to go through things like the movie Kids, like those are more impactful stories, and it made a lot of the actors in them stars or bigger because Rosario Dawson comes from Kids. um and that you're like, man, I'll never want to go through that. You felt that. So when I saw Rocks, I thought about the inevitable adventure of Mr. and Pete
Thank you.
because
I'm going to
of
study.
what
I'm going to
happens
watch
in the
it
story.
again this week. I'm going to study that one, and I'm going to go back and study Rocks a little more. That's what I'm going to do this week, I think. But I got to be in Dallas. I got to work on a play this week in Dallas. But
So
I
because
should have
look at
time
the
to
thing
watch
real quick. Here's a similarity: a coming of age story about two inner city boys who are left to fend for themselves over the summer after their mothers are taken away by the authorities.
it. Dang.
You see what I'm
That's true.
saying?
Yeah, it was. Yes. But you know what? Guys, in Texas alone, they have so many kids that they have put into the system that they were getting apartments, and the black kids were half price. That's all I gotta say. Um,
Mhm.
but they had so many kids. So these movies about these kids, even though, like you said, it's a similar movie, and that was done in what year?
It was released in 2013.
2013. And this
Mhm.
one we're talking about in 2019. To be honest, these stories don't get old. They don't get old because it is so many kids going through, Jade's Heart. It's about a child going through a toxic relationship with her grandmother.
Mhm.
But it's generational. It's a movie about generational hurt, pain, that type of thing. My movie that I'm doing. So, I'll be mentioned, and guys, I'll be talking about that a lot in the next in especially January and February because I am in pre-production. But so these movies don't get old. And no, we don't want, no, like, just like we don't want to see all slavery movies, we don't want to see all downtrodden movies about the poor kids. We don't want to see that either. That's why the movie before I wrote Jade was Project Him, about the steam kid.
Right.
Now I got to go change the terminology in my thing, but the steam kids, because it was about these kids,
Well, no, you
being
can still use the term. We have been getting away from the term, but you can still use it because most everybody's going to understand it regardless.
okay.
Um,
Okay. So we want
but
to, we want to tell all these stories. God, that Amazon same truck just came through twice. It must be two
they
people coming.
delivering.
Yes.
Um, they're all said, let me know if you need any crew members, TK. There you
Darrell,
go. Put that to
Darrell,
work.
no, let's talk, Darrell, for real. Yeah, I'll let you know. I have a list of crew
Here's
that I've met
another
up here.
movie, real quick. I want to get some movies on the same lines.
Okay,
Okay, here's another one. Um, Yell into the Sky.
okay,
And again, it's about coming of age. Coming of age stories are huge because we can all attest to going through an experience that brings us to who we are.
yelling
And
to
it
the
shows
sky.
us. And this was a really good movie. I was like, dang, it's again, some of these movies. Now, I will say this, and this is where I have to be careful. I like gritty stories because they are real to some people's experiences and stuff, and they give you a glimpse of lives that everybody's not privy to or exposed to understand. Um, but I also like positive stories that can have grit. So I'll give you a difference. At the same year, Precious came out. The football player movie came out.
Blind side.
Blindside. Yeah, they were both about black kids struggling, dealing with something, right? And one ended off on a positive note where the other was like, dang. And they both were put up for Oscars and stuff. But what I did notice is when we are talking about our pain in the stuff we've gone through in films, we get nominated for all types of awards. When we're positive, when we have movies we can laugh at, enjoy, and they talk, we don't get nominated for all types of awards.
And that, and that's the hard part. But back at the end of November, God told me awards. He was like, Jade is going to win awards. And I was like, oh, amen. It's great. But, unfortunately, it is one of those, it has a positive ending. Michael hasn't read it yet. He's going to read it during his Christmas break. It does have a positive ending, but unfortunately, it is a sad movie. But it's what God gave me, and that's what I wrote. And if you guys know my writing, for the ones who know my writing, they know from this movie right here is like one of a kind in my writing world. Usually, I write movies that are family friendly. I write movies that are family friendly. The whole family can go see them, and they usually have a good outcome, and they're not rough at all. Jade is rough. Needless to say, and I'm going to say this about Jade, and then it's already 11 o'clock. I'm going to say this about Jade. Yeah. So the reason why, I'm going to say two things about Jade. One is somebody told me, so God told me the reason why I wrote this movie is because I just write what I'm given. I was called to write Happy Anniversary to Me.
Happy anniversary. Oh, no, we got to do that right.
Look, I got the call.
Happy anniversary.
It was this week, 16 years ago, and I really believe the date was the 10th, which will be today, that I stepped out the shower and I heard the voice of God audibly say, write a movie. It did take me 2 weeks to fall into it, so I'm not going to act like it just happened. It was because it was never desire, never hard. People like, you went to school for this? I'm like, no, I was 34 and stepped out the shower, and I was commanded. Let me say that I was commanded to write a movie. So I say that to say everything that I write is given to me. I'm not brilliant enough to create stories. Okay. Everything I write, I may have an idea, but if God doesn't flush that thing through, it wasn't him. So I wait. I don't sit and force myself to create anything. I have 15 originals, and I did not force myself to write any of them. I let the story develop like it's supposed to, and that's how I write. And the reason why I say that is because someone said, Jade, so God told me a couple of weeks ago, the reason why Jade was written is because so many of us get into these toxic relationships, either business, relationally, family, whatever the toxic thing is, and we don't have the ability to pull ourselves out mentally or physically or spiritually. And so he has to come and get us. And it was funny because I have a friend who I was had sat down, I had her down to work on the crew, and when she read it, she said, TK, can I pass on this one? Because it is rough. And I said, sure. She said, I'll wait till you have a faith-based movie. And so I laughed, and I told her what God told me, and then I laughed and I said, I'll let you know if he gives me a faith-based one. Because if you were to look at the term faith-based, I have one, and that was the first one I wrote, and it's a rated R movie. So for Jade's Heart to be a faith-based, when you guys see it, go to the theaters, come on and see it, you will understand, like, wait, I remember TK saying this is a faith-based movie. Yeah, because that's what God told me. But everything I write is based off faith, because that's who I am, and that's how he's called me to write.
And that's subjective. Good. Like that term faith-based, like if I was to make the Bible as a movie, it'd be rated R or NC-17. You gotta, because this is what gets me when people, I can tell people ain't read the Bible too well. Because I used to do spoken word, and I write poetry. I wrote this poem that was a sexual poem. And my mom was going to say something to me about it, because she was like, and then I said, well, whatever you think, Mom, but I'm going to write what I write, because that's what I'm thinking, what comes to my mind. Then my mom said she read Songs of Solomon. And he's talking about her breasts. and her bosom
Yeah.
and describing her. And then my mom said, okay. You know, and because I told her, I said,
Yes.
remember this. And I tell people all
XXX
this when
Darrell.
we talk Bible, religion, and stuff. I tell them the Bible says everything created was created by God. Everything. Doesn't say some things. It says everything. Good and bad, created by God. Maybe because there's a purpose for it all to help us understand life a lot better. Because how would we know how good we have it if we didn't know how bad we had it, a situation, or what we went through? How would we know that we're blessed, or could we are not taking something for granted? Well, how would we know what granted is if we have moments that we've gone through and I'm gracious for the things I'm who I am today? It's and so a lot of stories, let's just be real, can be Bible movies. You can take the story of Job, somebody who's gone through the worst, lost their job, lost their family, their wife, and then had to rebuild their life again. Um, and the people were like, hey, just give up, curse God and die, just quit, because that's a coming to who you are moment. That's a period of time in your life. We can connect with those things. No one in the Bible was perfect. They all went through something. There's a situation where the dad slept with his
Yeah, how
widowed
many of the
son's
stories are
wife
PG
because he was
PG
sleeping with
butterflies
a
in the Bible?
prostitute. You know what I mean?
Mary
Like,
pregnant, walking with
it had a seal. He gave her his seal and she could get repayment. She brought it back to him because the family wasn't taking care of her after her husband died. And
Yep.
because of the traditions. So, like I said, are you really reading it, or are you just glancing through it and listen to what the guy on the pulpit telling you when the same message is in the book?
But it's how
So,
society, and we talk about that, it's how society has conditioned us to say what faith-based is. Faith-based, because like you said, you just said it. When you read the Bible, what? Oh, the one where he told him to go catch the fish and come. That's PG. Yep, you're right. That one is PG.
but
But
what about the one when they cut off their heads and put them on the stakes?
listen, but the fact that after I wrote this, I met two young ladies who had similar elements to Jade's story, and I was like, wow. And then the fact that God gave me two dreams, and I had a testimony from somebody else that me finishing this film is detrimental to the lives of women, of different
Mhm.
women. The character is 17. The one that told me that I was finishing it for her, she's 55. And the dreams I had, the girl was like 20 something. We don't know the bigger picture because we're too busy worried about what society thinks and how society, now I'm preaching, society categorizes us.
Right.
But I know that I am the faith based in all my movies because my whole walk is obedience and faith. If you know me, you know the
Mhm.
sacrifice, the surrender, the obedience. So everything I'm giving is based off faith. So that's how I write my movies. And so for God to tell me this was faith based, but you know what? It gives me a conversation piece to open up all of this on these panels that I will be on speaking, talking about the difference in what we think faith based is. This is going to be good. It is always bigger. When God gives it
Yeah.
to us, it's always bigger than us when God gives us to us. Like we talk about, guys, He didn't call us in this industry to conform to the ways of what society says. He called us in this industry to do things. So, like I said, I had 15 original scripts. I have one that society may, they probably won't even consider it faith based because it's rated R, but it's faith
Well,
based.
I must say this: it's faith based because I had faith. It was based in the faith of me making the film.
And
So,
God paying my rent while I was writing the films He
yeah.
told me to write. Don't play with
Because
me, baby.
a lot of my films come
We're
from
all the
dreams
way
or
there.
conversations. Like, I could pop up a film, and if you tell me something, I'll be like, all right, boom, 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 and knock out a film quickly in my head because I can visualize it and take it to the next level. Some people who've shared the phone with me can attest to such. Uh, and I'll be like, I'll write it down on my thing. Um, okay, with the sermon about sowing the seed. Yeah, see? So
Hey,
Um,
listen, I lay it down. I ain't got no I ain't got no shame
but
in my
look,
game, but we can go there.
we owe him a little time since we got on a little late. So let's hop. We're gonna hop into character development and use what
Oh
we've
no, we're gonna be
seen.
on that for forever. You think we
Nah,
have time
we
to do
gonna
that?
keep because we can do character development part 2 next week
Okay,
too.
we're
But
gonna
we
keep it
can get
short.
you
The
started.
reason why I
Yeah.
brought that up because somebody asked me this week, how do I develop my characters?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I brought that up. So, and I thought about it. I was like, how do I? Because when I explained to you guys, God called me to write. When He gives me these stories, He gives me these characters. So, working with Jade, I'll just use Jade because that's like I said, that's what we're in pre-production on, working that
Mm-hmm.
example. Jade has low self-esteem because her mother's not there. She's being treated horribly by her grandmother. So, all these young girls wearing makeup and all that kind of stuff, yeah, not Jade. Jade doesn't wear makeup. She wears the oversized hoodies, the sweats. She
Mm.
has low self-esteem, so there's a certain way she dresses. But when I see her, I already saw this when because I can't write anything I don't see. If I can't
Okay.
see it, Michael already know. If I can't see it, I cannot write it. And so when I see it, I see these characters. And so to me, the characters develop their selves for me. Now you can ask me something about this character. Oh, she don't wear makeup. Oh, the only time she put on lip gloss is when she see this certain character. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you, oh, this lady, she's dressed like this when these people come over, and then she's dressed like this when she's at the she's wearing her muumuus other than that and her bonnet. So I can see these characters, but I don't sit and develop characters because the characters actually are developed when I get them. Now, what they wear and all that stuff is what I see in my brain when I see them.
Okay.
So when you ask me how I develop characters, I don't sit and go through the 100. And it's a great idea to do it, to go through all the questions. What does your
Mm-hmm.
character
The
like?
background
Does
and stuff.
have an addiction? Do they have family? Do they have, are they at odds with their parents? Are the parents in their lives? Do they have childhood trauma? Going through all of these are really good to develop character if you're unsure about who your character is. These are great. And
Okay.
some people will sit down and go through months of prep work to develop characters and develop
And
a story. And that's great if that's what if that's what you have to do and it's not coming to you like it needs to.
mm-hmm.
It's great to, that is great to sit down and develop your characters. That's all I got on character development.
Well, for me, the questions can work for certain characters, especially sub characters, right? You definitely want your main character. You should really know your main character. I would tell people study psychology, study sociology, because this is how we as people react. Um, if your character is bipolar, I'll give you a
Yes,
perfect
absolutely.
movie to watch about character. If you ever seen As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson, his character
Yes,
has OCD and
I
how he
own it.
responds to the world is
Yeah,
based on his OCD, right? And
yeah.
he has to deal with his OCD to become who he transforms into later. And it's still a hard thing. Like you can still see the OCD still doing
Yeah.
it even at the end, but he's stepping out a little bit. And
That is
so
a great movie to study, guys. I own it.
yeah,
That's a
and
great
so
movie.
that's the thing is the characters come from a situation. Like even villains to people, I tell some people, I said, to some people a villain is a hero because they share the same belief,
Mm-hmm.
right? To the hero is the real villain to somebody else. If you look at Star Wars as Empire coming together to bring the galaxy together, to work together and not let people do it. That's the same philosophy as the world in most places. That's what people who have a country do. They want everybody on the same accord, patriotism and stuff like that. So are in the rebellion, any rebels would be the problem in their society, who are trying to change things or give you certain freedoms or whatever because they don't agree with the holistic view of the empire or the country or whatever. They think you should have certain things. So that's one thing. So your what philosophies does your character share, right? And then how does your character see the world? What are their disorders, right? Do they have any mental disorders? Do they have any personal hangups? When you look at Ray, he's on drugs in the movie Ray because he lost his brother. So every time he steps, because remember, he lives off of seeing the world with his touch, his feeling, his mind, all that, because he can't see it physically anymore. So when he steps, he feels water. He's feeling the water in Ray because of the loss of his brother. And so that puts him in this place of wanting to do drugs. But what helps him is what also keeps him grounded is the memory of his mom saying the things she said to him as she was building him. That's where when you're watching a movie, she's like, wait, didn't I teach you to do this? Why are you doing this? Or Ray, you get in it, helps him out. If you've ever had a dream in your life and you heard your mother say something, you woke up and they just called your name. I've had that. I've had family or somebody speak to me, Michael, I'm like, whoa, ain't nobody in the room, ain't nobody in the house but you. But you heard that voice that pops you in, is speaking to you. So your characters, what are they going through? What helps them? What's the end? What's the balancing of them? Because they have a balancing act. They have, and everybody, if you think about this, when you watch TV shows, they had the angel and the devil on the shoulders. Well, the truth is the angel and devil are your personality or the people around you, right? So sometimes you have this devilish thoughts in your brain, and there's a balance of how your father really raised you, or how your mother really raised you. Yes. And so you're competing with how you emotionally feel, that it's me against the world. And yet that balance that brings you back in is the world's not against you, but that's somebody like your parent who guides you. And so when we look at our characters, how we develop and how they respond to situations, because what a movie is to me is a glimpse into a character's life or an aspect of their life. Now, some movies are about their lives, like a Forrest Gump, right? And then some movies are about a time period of their life. Like if you watch Rocks, it's a time period. It's a small stretch of time. It's not 2 years out. It's a few days in or a week or so that this is taking place. You watch Have Plenty, that's a weekend.
Yep.
You watch some movies, it happens all in one day, and so I had a friend, he says, I like movies that just happen in one day because then I feel more relatable. It's a situation and what's the stakes of that day if you don't make it or if you do make it. Imagine finding a case of $1 million in a duffel bag as you're walking down the street and you go, oh, hell.
Here you go with those movie ideas. Go ahead.
And you're thinking, do I turn this into the cops or do I go spend this money? And who would? Like, who's going to turn it into the cops? There's your moral dilemma. Or who's going like, hey, they ain't going to miss this, only to find out that the money belonged to a drug dealer. Or maybe it's not even a drug dealer. Maybe it's an embezzler. Maybe it's somebody who just recently robbed a bank. So now you're going in for robbing a bank that you never robbed because you found the money from the bank. There's so many. You put
up all the homeless people in the hotel.
Yeah. And you see, what would you do? Yeah. What would that character do with it? And so that's why we always think of what are the psychological bases of this character? How would somebody who has OCD or who's bipolar respond to finding a sack of money? How would somebody who has never had money respond to finding a sack of money? How is somebody who's had money and has more money respond to finding this duffel bag of money? And so those are the questions I usually ask about my character. Who are they? Why do they think this way? What traumas or drama are they going through and have they gone through? What are their experiences that shape their thought process to this moment? So, because they have to make a decision, because each scene, when you're learning about writing scripts, every scene is a conflict. It doesn't have to be a huge conflict, but your character wants something. And the thing is, how do they get it? Now, if there's a person in the room, they want something too. So how do they both get what they want? Or does one get it? Or do the other get it? Or no one gets it? Those are your options. And that's why I say filmmaking is a train wreck.
It doesn't have to be big conflicts. It could be like sugar in your coffee. No, that's a conflict. So don't think they got to be a fight, like a
There could
real
be a
fight in every
subtext.
scene.
So we were talking about subtext one time.
Yeah,
Do you want sugar
and
in your
so,
coffee?
yeah.
No. And the reason they don't want sugar in their coffee, because things ain't sweet right now. That's subtext.
Come on, somebody.
You
I don't
see
want no
that,
sugar
that's
from you.
right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You want sugar in your coffee? No.
No.
I want it black. You know, like, and then so how
Yep.
they respond, and they
Yes.
could be, they don't even have to have attitude. Like, nah, I want it black. And you know, sugar with you.
Yeah.
So,
And
you know, so that's where we get that, because we as human beings have subtext. We may say, how you doing today? I'm doing all right. Or I'm doing fine, but really they not. They not
I'll be
fine.
fine because you in your mind, you thinking, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
And so that's where it comes in. So your characters, and here's the thing about character development for me. There's two ways that either your characters are being developed through the story, or they're developed and the story is because of who they are, and now they got to change something. They have bad habits, because habits are what create us, right? I remember I had a pastor used to say, "You're stinking thinking." It helps create your habits. And so if you have a thought process that the world cheats you, you're a cheater. And I'm not talking about cheating like cheating like relationships. You could be a cheater financially. Actually, a lot of people, let's just be real. I could do, you know why it's so easy to do a movie right now in the music industry? Because a lot of people in the music industry cheat people in the music industry. They have you sign these 360 deals, these shady deals. And here's the crazy part. I had this conversation with Tiffany about it. I said, the crazy part is Black people take on the philosophy of their colonizer oppressors when it comes to operating.
Wow.
Because they're shady to each other. Like, people were talking about how Puffy would want to take your song and give it to Faith or somebody, but he wants to do something extra and become now the producer and give you a small percentage of it.
Oh, let me
Right
tell
there.
you, a lot. Ooh, listen. Somebody told me because I gave 2 ideas on the rewrite, I now become a writer. I said,
they
if
put
that's
that
what
in
they
their
agree,
contracts, yeah.
and I told that guy, I said, if that's what those people agree to, I'll put your name on here on the rewrite. I said, but if it was me in my original script, I call BS, and you would not be able to do that to my script. I'll take my script and put it back on that shelf. I would definitely not do that. But I have 3. That's what coaches do. Everybody has different opportunities.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to stay in the same position.
Well,
Just like we talked
everybody's
about,
philosophy on the Deion Sanders thing is different. Well,
right?
because of where, but here's the
wants.
thing, because of where you see the world and how you see life, you will see the situation different. Somebody goes, hey, we all get to a place where we're seeking greater opportunity. And once we got there, we plateau, we move to the next level because that's what we're trying to do in life. Another person says, well, I believe in helping our community. So if Deion Sanders stayed at a Black college and built that up, then, but he did say, Deion Sanders did say God sent him.
He did say God sent him. He said, he said, if you don't think God gonna tell me when to go, when he was the one that told me to come, I said, ooh.
No, I understand that too. But here's what I'm saying. So it's the philosophies are different, but that's where character development comes from. So understanding, and this is why I always tell people, who taught you? Because we write films, we look at the world based on the teachings of our colonizers, oppressors, Western civilization. So we have to start reshaping and thinking a lot differently to tell the real stories we want to tell in a manner of understanding. And so, everybody's talking about seasons and everything, but that's what happens. That's why we're talking about characters. That's why we look at stuff, because I always tell people, the funny thing is, you saw the Temptation movie before they made the Temptation movie because you watched the 5 Heartbeats. The philosophy, the mindset, that industry is the way it was, what those people went through. You had what's his name, Eddie, and you had what's the name with the Temptations. Wait, both named Eddie. And so that's where character development is about, finding. And so, does your situation develop your character? Does your situation or your thing to reveal your characters? who people are. So are we revealing? Are we responding because of who we are? And that's where, so sometimes to me, answering those questions could be great because it gives you a place to go. But sometimes you answer the questions based on the situation. This is why I think the good, and I was sharing this as a thing. You watch the first Star Wars movie, you watch all three. Every Star Wars movie starts off in the middle of a situation. We automatically think Darth Vader's the bad guy because he's in black, he has this deep, menacing voice, and the way he responds to the situation. But could he have been the good guy? Hey, you stole our plans for the thing we building. I mean, people think it's cool to steal plans and something somebody else working on. But we psychologically said, nah, she's dressed in white and they're white and the robot's gold and we gonna support them because their ship was being attacked by the big ship. They got the little ship and we cheer on the little man. But could the little man be the problem? So again, but to somebody else's story, the little guy is the problem. The little guy's orchestrating all these things. So it's how you tell the story when you develop those characters. It's how what reveals the character the further it goes
Reveal and
along.
respond to. Yep, that's
You know,
good.
and so when you, and I don't want to give away stuff because I had a conversation with Felicia about some short films because she wants to work on doing some short films, and I was giving her perspective on, especially doing like a 1 minute to 2 minute short film, and because I think that if you haven't filmed anything, you want to get to testing your skills, you got to be able to hold people's attention for a minute to 2 minutes because that's usually the time of a scene. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't hold people's attention for 1 to 2 minutes, you're not going to be able to hold their attention or get them engulfed in your story for 2 hours because those all add up. Yeah, Luke
And
isn't all black in Return to Jedi, and he's the good guy to us though because he's been, and so that's the image. But think about this: we have a hero we call him Black Panther. He's an all black. And so now colors don't make the villain anymore. A villain can wear all white. You look at a James Bond movie, a
okay,
villain
he in a
can wear all
tuxedo.
white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, white
So yeah.
suit, everything, nice rimmed hat, and killing people. And so, and if you look at Kingsman, Samuel L. Jackson's character wanted to leave certain people around and cleanse the earth of everyone else. And he's putting chips in people, bringing them to his place, and his phone would scramble other people's mind where they get violent and they kill each other to cut the population down, right? But his character doesn't like the sight of blood, and he talked with a lisp. That's character development for me when we look at characters, right?
And that,
Kingpin
yeah.
does wear all white in Spider-Man and stuff. Actually, he does have a black suit though, but he's usually wearing white. And so that's where we have to understand it's the psychological thing. Is this really the bad guy? The only reason they're a villain or they're the antagonist to us is we don't agree with their philosophy totally, completely, or how they're going
That's
about it.
true. That's true because like you say, some people may think the villain is a bad. You just said it earlier. Is the good guy because they relate to it and that's their story. So it's subjective to who's the villain in the movie and who's not. You just
Prime
said it.
example,
Yeah.
Black Panther. You know how many people agreed with Killmonger's perspective? A lot.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, really, T'Challa was the villain. I said, no, T'Challa wasn't the villain. He was the guy in the middle. The reason is Killmonger was a villain and the dad and the other ones were villains is they abandoned Killmonger and other black people in society.
Yeah.
Right? They became the villain because they abandoned others to keep their secret and to keep them from the rest of the world. Right? So they showed that they're willing to kill and abandon their own. Killmonger wanted revenge, even though he wanted liberation at the same time. The problem was the vengeance aspect of getting back at the world that's done so much damage. But that is the fear of the world. Like I often say, the reason white America and any white countries have a problem with reparations is so easy. They don't want black people to get to the situation to do back to them what they did to us. If you watch the Mandela movie, that is actually one of the biggest points they make when they're talking about letting the South Africans vote again or letting them
Mm.
be able to vote because they're afraid that they'll put people in office that'll let them get their vengeance back on what colonization has done to that country.
Wow.
So you have to, when you understand that, that makes your story, that makes your character. Because Mandela was like, "Nah, we're not going to do that. We're not like that. That's why we're not going to get back at you. But we do want our rights and our freedom. But everybody isn't that way." And that's how you develop your characters. That's where Killmonger comes into play. He is that way. He is that person. Hey, I'm gonna get back at you. You did me dirty. Hey, what's up? And that's fine. That's good character development for him, because I agree with Killmonger on certain aspects. Like, hey, you left your people out there when everybody could have rose up and didn't have to be oppressed and everything. You sat back and let this happen for the sake of what? You know, and so, yes, but I also agree with T'Challa. But then I disagree with allowing them access to vibranium, which, if you watch the second movie, becomes the other problem. And I love how they address. And here's the thing: the beauty about characters is, philosophy comes into play. This is when you say a faith-based movie. Is it faith-based? Because if your character is a God-believing character and lives a certain way, does that show something? Because you know what? The Last Holiday could be a faith-based movie.
1,000 words was faith-based. Avengers, when you think of Avengers, which one of the Avengers where he had to sacrifice his life to save the whole world? Come on now.
But they see,
Remember
but
when he
that's,
was going in the sky and he
yeah.
was going to save the world? Come on, he was
But
giving
those are
sacrifice
aspects,
his life.
because I call that the Jesus concept. Because
Yep.
here's the problem I have, and you know, we'll move on, but we're doing character development. But here, the problem I have is, somebody goes, "Oh, all these people are mocking really the Bible and everything," and I said, "Mocking how?" And they're, "Oh, they're you got rappers putting themselves on a crucifix and everything." I said, "Well, God said make no symbols. That's biblical. That's what the Bible says. Make no symbols unto me." That's what God said. So there's no symbolism of a crucifix that represents Jesus or God. Boom. But the thing is,
was not ready, Darrell.
yeah,
When she walked up
yeah.
in that door, I stood up at my house. I stood up. I said,
that part, because
I had
they
to-
addressed the French. In that movie, he addressed France, because France does and still has the thing where they're taking money from Haiti and other countries, and they force them. See, this is why we need to read newspapers. This is why we need to learn about other countries and how they're impacted, because you're addressing, in some simple, you're addressing the behaviors that are actually happening in the real world and bringing the attention. And that shows me character. Who was the queen? You know, what was her character? You saw the queen with Okoye, how she was upset, like, "Oh, I lost my whole family," even though her whole family wasn't gone. They weren't there in Wakanda, right? That was a point she was making. And so, but back to when people say they're putting people on crucifix. Crucifixion was a Roman punishment. It was actually before Rome too, but it was a way of punishment. It wasn't specific just to,
you're right,
the concept of Jesus, Yahushua. It wasn't only specific. There was two other people being crucified right beside him. It was who they were crucifying. That was the difference. This is why you got to study things and understand it. Then there's no argument. We tend to make unnecessary arguments. But back to character development, then if I know that crucifying is a symbol mentality of the world is against me and putting me in front of people, which we always talk about crucifixion in movies. We don't even realize it, because when we put one character on display for the world to tear them down, they're being crucified. It's a symbolism. Yep. So we have to understand that when we develop a character. Why is this character going through this? What is it? Why the world doesn't want to see a clean, positive person. It wants dirt on somebody. Your villain, your hero.
It has to have, unfortunately, because that's how we make ourselves feel better. I had a pastor used to say, let them, when people talk about you, send them a thank you card. They need to send you a thank you card because they're just putting you down to make you feel better. That's why people watch. One lady, she said, "Yeah, I watch those reality shows because it shows me my life ain't as bad." I'm like, wow.
Because that's the truth. People do that, and so when you think of developing a character, what people want, the reason is, and this is why I say Will Smith has to play a villain in something, is You want to see people whose hands get dirty every now and then. Even in, if you look at, let's take the Equalizer with Denzel, this version, the Denzel version. His hands aren't clean, but what he does is for a good reason. He's protecting other people. He's trying to save somebody from a situation. So he's willing to get his hands dirty to deal with the filth in the world. Mm-hmm. That's a psychological thing. He has a defense protection behavior. He wants to protect, because he could literally like, that ain't my situation. I'm retired. I ain't gonna deal with that. He doesn't, because his natural desire and his mentality is to protect the innocent people. So that in developing that character, what does he have? He doesn't have a family, but he's willing to create relationships in this community. And then what happens is something happens to the girl in the car he just talked to, he goes and he beats the guys up. If something happens to the boy that was painting the mural in his building, what does he do? He goes and he gets those guys, he took them. Now, he could easily walk away from that. Mm-hmm. What character would? Now, a villain would walk away. Hey, I got nothing to do with that. Told me right there, I'm out. You know, ain't my problem. Kill him. And that's a villain mentality. And so when we develop characters, we have to understand their reasons of why, what it is about them. If you look at Blindside, they bring out the point where the boy's a protector. And so when the car accident happens, what does he do? He shields the little boy, sticking his arm out so he doesn't go through the windshield. Now you're painting a picture of your character, how they think, and you reveal it through the situations. And even in those situations, there's a conflict. Oh, he shouldn't have been driving. Why is this little boy in the car with him? Yada. When her mom's like, wait, how come my little son's not hurt, but his arm is messed up? What happened?
That's good.
You know, and so that's how you reveal characters in your story. That's the character development. So I didn't want to get off the other things, but I guess I had to address some of that behavior.
That's okay. It's all good. And I just have three quick things on that. And also the villains always have a good side. Like in The Wire, Omar, it was a truce on Sunday. Omar refused to sell drugs on Sunday because that was God's day. Even though he was a gay drug dealer, he refused to sell drugs on Sunday because that's God's day. It was the truth. And then even in the two Escobars, the documentary, me and sports documentaries, two Escobars, the Escobar that was the drug dealer, he literally, they said he murdered all these people, but yet he built thousands of houses on the hill for the community. So, the villains always have a good side or whatever. The other thing is, like in when we talk about the character development, the mental issues, and like Jade's heart, she has a weak heart. The thing is, a lot of films, people will
I got a question. She has a weak heart and a physical weak heart?
No. That's good. She does. She's mentally and physically weak heart. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you, Lord. Okay, this is true. This is true. That's good. That's good. But you see, and when you create stuff like Michael just said, I was like, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, so mentally and physically, she has a weak heart. That is so good. But I just couldn't have her have a weak heart in the middle of the script. Mm-hmm. So if the like if they have COPD and they're gonna fall out later from a heart condition or COPD or something, you got to have them coughing in the beginning, like coughs. You know what I mean? You have to plant stuff throughout the script. You just can't pop up. And I'm like, wait a minute, they just had a heart attack, but did they have any numbness or tingling anywhere else? You have to remember to plant stuff mentally and physically. When regards to flaws in these characters. So that was two things. And then the last thing is this book, I haven't read it yet because it's a lot of reading and I'm
Step it back just a little bit. Bring it back just a little bit.
I'm breaking up. I'm breaking up too.
Oh yeah. You were freezing a couple times. It's all right. We
Yeah. But this book is called The Emotional Wounds Thesaurus, A Writer's Guide to Psychological Trauma. I haven't read it because it's not an easy read, but they have a whole thing of these, a whole
series
of these. So I need to get them all, and I do need to take the time to read them. But Michael, you also told me one that I was going to get, and I kept forgetting the name, and I kept asking you, and I still forget the name. And it talked about when you're developing characters, that book,
I
remember?
have to look. You know, I got a whole shelf.
Golly. So
But
this one, yeah, this one, when I seen this, I bought it and then I opened it and I was like, dang, this is a lot. But you know, it'll help me. It'll help us. You know, every resource we have will help us and has some gems in it. So I'm going to actually take the time to actually read this book, and I'm going to get the other ones to go to it as well. But but yeah, so that's yeah, we said a lot on character
yeah,
development, a lot of good stuff.
even you know, and even though we got a little sidetrack here and there, but like even all that to me is about character development. Even when I get
Yes.
sidetracked, because a character gets sidetracked, artists are sidetracked. So like if I wrote a
Okay,
story
but
about an artist,
we
you
have to
have
include
different
what
types of
society
artists.
looks at and thinks in different ways because some society, like in Jade's heart, her grandmother, and I even put that in the one of the synopsis about how her morals and values she created because she's been in her own world, so she has her
Mm.
own morals and values. Versus what the world, when we look at this woman, we're like, what is wrong with her? But because she's been in her own mind and had to be in survival for her whole life, she's developed her own morals and values, and she don't care what society thinks because society didn't come in and help raise her and pick her up when she was down. So
Right.
she don't care what society thinks. So she has her own morals and values that she's created.
And see, if I develop a character, let's say I develop a character like that, right? If I had a character that go through stuff, I would actually have that character create their own biblical or Bible sayings or philosophies of life for their survival. Right? Like there's this saying we heard in I heard it before, but scratch a lie, find a thief. And you hear it in Ray, you're like, you know, or you
Uh-huh.
know, man, and my dad used to say a man is only as good as his word, right? That philosophy you would find in my works because that's what I was taught from my dad. So if your word don't mean nothing, then that's how good you are. That's your value, in a sense, me growing up. Because if I can't trust your word, I can't trust you, right?
Forrest Gump and Waterboy.
Yeah.
Forrest, I always talk about, I quote Forrest Gump when people be talking about money and what to do with it. I say, well, Forrest said, his mama said that only, you know, a man only needs so much money to live off. The rest is for show. How true is that? I mean,
Right.
how true
And
is life is like a box of chocolates. I'm telling you, but you know, alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush. Waterboy and Water, when you talk about stuff like that, Waterboy and Forrest Gump are great examples of people listening to and implementing those things. Mama said, well, Mama said, you know,
yeah,
Mama
and then that you should, and that's where I say that's when you start writing out certain things because you want to make sure your characters say certain lines or something. When I
yeah,
talk to TK, I'll be like, I have to have this scene, and the character has to say this, you know, and because that's going to show you either the experience or of the character or what's going on in their world that has shaped them. You know what I'm talking about, the Alzheimer's thing.
oh
Um,
yeah,
you know, and I'm like, hey, that because I was that psychologically, you gotta impact your audience. They hold on to that. That's why we remember lines from certain movies because that developed the character for us, or it was funny, and that's what reminds us of this character. We quote people. Hey, when me, Jamal, and I were kids, we quoted Purple Rain. Your lips will make a lollipop too happy. And we were like, oh, that sounds smooth. You know, and you're like thinking, imagine being a little kid. You know, that is smooth. And then you start running around, hey girl, you let's make a lot. Come on. And so that was Morris Day to us, you know. And when you learn how Prince developed Morris Day is a character. And so that in that storytelling, who's your character? Why do we like this character? Why is this character cool? I think one of the characters that stands out to me was Terrence Howard's character of Quentin in Best Man. Cause he's
right.
that guy who just says what he needs to say, what he wants to say, and doesn't care. And he just laughs in the background as he orchestrates and watches everything play out. But he isn't totally orchestrating. It's because of what the others have done or do. And he's just, hey, you talked all this stuff. And he asks you questions to get you. When he's sitting around the table playing spades, you see that come out. You know, he's like, so you're telling me all that dirt you done did. You know, and then what does he get mad? Throw the table up, get mad. He's pulling out their flaws and
Yep.
imperfection. And that's to have those characters in your film, those are great characters because yes, they're flawed, but they're comfortable with their flaw. And you're comfortable with their flaw. So you're like, yeah, he's funny. But he's in his flaw, he's bringing out the other, like, you know better than the rest of us. Those are the type of characters, that aunt, that cousin, that sister who's mad at the other sister saying, well, you know better, because they're bringing that moment too, and they're revealing the truth that we've all been seeing, but that happens in those climactic moments or those twist moments in a film. And so when developing a character, you do list out your characters. You do list out what they're saying, how they're going to do. Oh yeah, every day. I gotta fight every day to
So
prove my love from the
you
five.
definitely know. Yeah, and I put y'all, when I write in any of your scripts I write, I have an inside joke in them. I'm telling you, inside joke. If it's a feature, it may be more than one, but it's at least one inside joke. We'll be on the table reading, and I'll just be cracking up laughing. It won't be nothing funny, and everybody will look at me, and I'll be like, inside joke. Like, I love doing that to people's scripts. Love it, love it, love it.
So you do not have to use the whole character question list, but you can, especially if you're starting out. It starts making you really think. But what I would say is start studying psychology, because then you understand why your character responds to the situation the way they do. Start thinking about, why would this person do this? What has my character been through? Somebody who has both parents could still rob a store, just like somebody who only has one parent or no parent, but their reasoning behind it may be totally different. You know, I remember movies were fascinating. The kid had everything, but the thing he didn't have was people who loved him. Oh, they buy me all the stuff, they give me stuff, but what he was really doing is causing trouble to get the attention he was missing, or she was missing. That tells you that's character development right there. You know, just because they got both parents don't mean they got both parents. So when you do it, list your situations, list what you want to put your character through. That's why you do a character out. That's why you do an outline. Your character will come out of either the story developing, showing us who they are, or who they are based upon the situations they go through. Valencia said the toy. That's why the little boy acted like that in the toy. That's why it's important to watch movies for different reasons. One, find movies that look a certain way that you enjoy. Ask yourself why they look the way they look. So when you're filming, that if that's the style you want for your certain films. I know when I did Broken, I looked at traffic because I liked when the scenario or place changed, so did the look and feel, the filters and so forth changed, and the lighting. You have to decide. I'm a person, my style is high contrast. I love contrast. Gives you depth to me. And then I also like color. You know, bring out some colors a little bit. So, but when you watch a movie, so here's what I want to challenge you guys to do before next show. Find a movie that you can watch about character. If you go watch Rocks, what did you gain from her as a character? Because that's a short period of time and it does tell you a lot. I wonder if you guys will catch it. I'll talk to TK after this, but
yeah, because I got to see if I caught it.
There's a conversation between her and her grandmother.
Okay.
When they're talking about her mom.
Okay, I got to see. Like I said, I'm going back to watch it. I'm going back to watch that, and I'm going to watch those other two movies. I'm going to make sure I watch those other two movies because, guys, that, like I said, that movie was exactly how I want the audience to feel. And I think with the overcast and even the setting, I'm starting to think that is exactly the movie that I'm going to pattern. So I'm going to look at the other two, but there was no way that randomly I just happened to watch that movie from that independent film from 2019. It just came up. So I don't think, that was a coincidence. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us today. Y'all. It was a really great show. We learned
60-second gems.
As much as we give you guys, we're learning at the same time. So because we all want to make each other better, lift each other up, keep each other moving. And yeah, pre-production, baby, let's do it. What you got, Mike? Go ahead.
So we like to say thank you for joining us here at the Black Filmmakers Lounge. My 60-second gem, hey, just study character. Look at your character. Sit on a bus. Sit at the mall. Ask you, why are these people doing what they do? Maybe you get an idea. But be strategic, intentional, authentic. That is the Black Filmmakers Lounge way. We love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you for joining us here on Facebook and on YouTube. And we hope you continue. Don't worry. 2023 is about to come with some stuff. December's rounding up. We almost mid-December. Next week we will be almost in Christmas. So we got some things coming up. Hey, kudos to each and every one of you for joining us. If you got some questions, some things you want us, topics you wanted us to talk about, send us a message at the Black Filmmakers Lounge. Post to the page, add to the groups, join the Black Filmmakers community, Black Filmmakers Lounge community. And remember that if you're in the community, contribute to the community. Put in what you want to get out. All right, we love you guys. We appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm Michael Melvin, my co-host Amira TK Henderson, and we enjoy you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you. And peace.
Like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, share. Look at Mike. Go, Mike. Subscribe, share. Like,
I can only do the two-step. We out.